Ciao.
This episode of In a Few Minutes is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Check them out at betterhelp.com/afew.
Here's the invoice. No charge and no address. Listen to this. No interocitor part can be replaced. Bear this in mind while assembling.
Use only genuine interocitor parts.
I blanked. It was a match game joke. Jeff Gamet is here with us, everybody. Jeff Gamet. Match game jokes. You just don't get that many of those anymore.
No.
I'd say not since match game 78. Jeff Gamet is here with us. You can follow Jeff on Twitter at jgamet. You can also follow him on YouTube. youtube.com/jgamet. Did I say that right? youtube.com/jgamet. I got confused on what was the Twitter thing, even though they're practically the same. It's either twitter.com/ or youtube.com/jgamet.
Or instagram.com/ whatever. It's all jgamet.
There you go. Amazon.com. No. That's not true. Yeah. Gotta get to work on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of getting to work, last week, Apple said, you want to fix your phone? Fine. Do it. We don't care. I mean, we still care. We'll sell you the parts. We'll sell you the tools. We'll sell you the manuals to do it. That will not sell you the manuals. Probably they give you those because you're buying the parts and tools, for crying out loud. But they've now said, all right, we've heard you. We understand. You want to be able to fix your own phones, your own Apple devices. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start with the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 13 in the early part of 2022. We will sell you the tools. We will sell you the parts. We'll give you the manual to do it. And you go fix your phone if you think you can. Understanding, of course, that if you break it, well, you already bought it. But if you break it, that's on you, not us. And then later in the year, apparently, they're going to make that possible for the M Series Macs that are available.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I don't want to say it's kind of neat. My assumption is that everybody would be happy about it. And then I read the fine print and I said, well, actually, people are probably not going to be much more happy with this. And then I realized, I know iFixit makes a big deal about this, and I know tinkerers make a big deal about this, and I know third-party repair shops, and I want them to make a big deal about this because I want them to be able to keep doing what they're doing. But I realize, as noisy as the noise can be, the number of people, the volume of people actually complaining about this, pretty small. I'm curious what your take is on what Apple has introduced.
What Apple has introduced, from my perspective, is a tactical move. And it has nothing to do with giving us what we want. And this is all about making a preemptive strike to try and have some control over the right to repair thing, and to try and keep government regulation out of that process.
What I said on macOS Ken was, if there was subtext to what Apple said, it is shut up now. We've given you the thing that you've asked for. I'm curious, when you say it's not about giving us what we want, are you in that camp? Are you in I'd crack open my iPhone and give it a shot?
I replaced the camera glass on an iPhone 10.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Now, the lenses themselves, didn't have to mess with them. But the process to get the cracked glass out and put the replacement piece in was so tedious. And I was so concerned about screwing up the cameras or just anything else in the process that when I was done, I didn't feel satisfied. I felt exhausted. And I'm someone that's totally comfortable cracking open computers, and I've replaced batteries in the old click wheel iPods just because I could. Yeah. And so I'm not afraid to get into the gear. But like if I crack a screen on an iPhone 12 or 13 out of warranty, I'm not going to replace the glass myself. This is not a program that I will take advantage of.
Okay. Why not?
My experience just doing something simple like replacing that broken camera glass. What it taught me was that I actually don't have an interest in dealing with the repairs on something where every single thing that I do has the potential to completely screw me.
To make it 1,000 times worse.
Right.
Right. The good people over at Consumer Intelligence Research Partners, CIRP, they're sort of a niche research firm, I would say. Seems to be two guys. I'm sure they have other people, but there are only ever two guys quoted in their press releases. Mm-hmm. They did an interesting thing where they basically looked at whether or not this is going to hit Apple's bottom line. The press release they put out, will Apple self-repair extend iPhone life? And I feel fairly certain what this was based on was the whole thing that Apple had to do where they, extended the battery warranty on, was it iPhone 6? It was a long time ago now.
Yeah, 6S, something like that.
Right, where they started sort of hobbling the phone's performance to extend the battery life. And, it was, and I know I'm saying that wrong. There were people who said that it was a horrible thing that Apple was trying to do to get other people to upgrade. There were others who said Apple actually is trying to protect the user experience, because I had one of the batteries that would just crap out. Like my phone would just, we're done now, even though it said it had like 25% battery life or whatever. I mean, there was a problem there. And the thing is, Apple said, fine, you know what? We apologize. Tell you what, we're going to replace the battery in your phone for $29. Apple came out in its following quarterly earnings report and said everything's going gangbusters because, well, then you get into other lawsuits. Some people said they were trying to hide the fact that the iPhone sales were tanking. And then there were other people that said they just really underestimated people's willingness to live with an old phone. If they could give their old phone new life for $29, they would put off buying, whatever the next iPhone was, because they practically had a new phone because it would last for more than, 4 hours before having to charge it. Mm-hmm. And so the people at Consumer Intelligence Research Partners researched it, and long and the short, they don't think this does anything as far as the life of the iPhone. We're not all going out now and learning how to open these things so that we can fix, whatever it was that we were getting fixed at the Genius Bar.
Yeah, I agree. The impact to Apple's bottom line is going to be negligible. And the people that want to have a new battery put into an old phone, the number of people doing that, I don't see that dramatically changing.
More with Jeff in a moment, but first a word from BetterHelp, online therapy and sponsor of today's show. Going to therapy doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You get your car serviced to keep it from breaking down. You mow the lawn to keep it from going to seed. You get checkups to make sure you stay healthy. Talking to a therapist can be like all of these. Routine maintenance for your mental and emotional wellness to prevent bigger issues down the road. That's what BetterHelp is. It's customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. Whatever's most comfortable for you. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why invest in everything else and not your mind? In a few minutes, listeners can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/AFEW. BETTERHELP. That's betterhelp.com/AFEW. As in a few minutes. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health at betterhelp.com/AFEW. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. continuing our conversation, or continuing even our conversation with Jeff Gamet of Jeff Gamet fame. You can follow him on Twitter at jgamet. You can also follow him on YouTube at youtube.com/jgamet. There was another interesting thing that happened last week as far as Apple kind of sort of making nice with the third-party repair people. Mm-hmm. It was the thing where when the iPhone 13 first came out, if you replaced the screen with another screen, it would break Face ID.
Right.
And Apple said, "Oh, we're going to fix that in an upcoming software update." And then, according to betas that came out last week, it looks like 15.2 is going to be the update where they do that. Because now, if you replace a screen with another screen, Face ID works. But you still get a message that says, we can't actually verify that this is a legit part. Doesn't matter, because it'll keep working. I assume you can dismiss that, somewhere along the way. I don't think it's like a watermark on everything you do on the phone, but you do get a message that, this might not be a legit part. Now, I had a weird James Bond moment last week where I thought, that actually makes sense to me. Because what if somebody monkeyed with your phone and you didn't know it? Now, you have to be the CEO of something, or you have to be, I don't know, an activist, a reporter maybe. You have to be somebody that somebody cares about, screwing with your stuff. Mm-hmm. Does that message make sense to you, or is it just nagware? It
makes sense to me while also being nagware.
Well, yeah. Okay.
It makes sense because the people that are actually going to be targets of espionage, or espionage even.
It's catching.
It's catching. Yeah. These people need to know if their phone has been tampered with. And so if the screen has been replaced, getting that alert lets them know, oh, crap, your phone, someone's done something to it. Okay, so that makes sense. For everyone else, and I think it just appears when you restart your phone, so it's not like it pops up like every 15 minutes or something. For everyone else, it's just nagware, and it's just something that's going to pop up, and they're annoyed that they have to tap OK to make it go away so that they can use their phone.
Yeah. If you got your phone repaired at the kiosk at the mall outside of the Apple store, though, probably that's not a genuine Apple part.
That's a pretty safe bet, yeah.
If you're under the impression that it is, really? You think they just opened a kiosk and changed the name outside of the place they do the repairs?
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty safe bet that if you walk up to that little kiosk outside the Apple store and they do work on your phone, it's not being done by an authorized Apple service provider.
So let me ask a question. And look, I'm a simple man. I don't open my stuff to fix it. I don't. I used to when I could understand things, right? Like when I could see. I'll tell you a stupid story. I used to work at a movie theater that was manager operated. So we didn't have a projectionist. The manager ran the projector.
Okay.
And I knew a little bit about the projector, 35 millimeter, big, huge thing, whatever. And one day, the way the old 35 millimeter projectors would work, at the end of the film, sort of one of the tension rods that would ride up and down with the film, just drops at the end, just drops like a stone. And who knows how many years it had just been dropping like a stone before one day this part just snapped off.
And kept dropping.
Well, no, it snapped off and hit the ground, but that's fine. I mean, the movie ended, so nothing was affected there, except there was another movie starting in about 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was a Sunday afternoon. My manager was like, we're going to have to call, the company, and they're going to have to come out. It's going to take hours. We probably don't have any more movies tonight. All this stuff, right? So I went in and looked at it, and there was a screw, a little tiny screw. And I went and looked at all the parts that we had sitting in the projection booth, and there were these little tiny screws that looked just like it. Mm-hmm. And I went back out to my manager, and I was like, I can fix that. And she said, no, you can't. And I was like, yeah, I can. Come look at it. And it was like a screw. I mean, seriously, I showed her. I was like, look, that is the thing that's broken. And we have the part over there. I can do this. And she's like, well, I'm canceling the show anyway. We can try it. Seriously, though, if you make it worse, you're fired. But it was a screw. And the thing is, that was not that was not amazing machinery that was magical, except to people who are really afraid to get into it. It was. And so she felt like I was going to break the whole thing, but she was willing to try it. I wasn't afraid of that. I won't open anything. I can't open a car anymore. I used to know how to do a couple of things under the hood, and now I look under the hood, and it's like, well, there's no snowman whose hat has fallen off, so there's really nothing I can do here, right? That's a Jake Johansson joke. I wish that was mine, but that's a Jake Johansson joke. I mean, there's stuff that I just won't get into anymore. Here's my question. Is this always going to be the purview of people who can do this, and they're always going to be that noisy, or is there a section of the population that wants an iPhone that's actually easy to repair? Because every time I hear that Apple has done something that makes it more difficult, my assumption is not that they are trying to screw the independent developer. My assumption is they're making the phone that they want to make, and they're not worried about the independent developer or independent repair person, excuse me. Where do you land on that? Where do you stand on that?
Apple's making the phone they want to make. And they, of course, they have reasons for everything they do.
Is one of those reasons really, though, to run the independent repair person out of business? And if you believe it is, I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying that's crazy.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think that Apple likes to completely control their entire user experience. And a side effect of that is that it's hard for independent repair companies to work with Apple gear. And Apple's okay with that. You know, it's part of the process, and they don't care.
Yeah.
And the number of people, I think, that really want to have iPhones that they can crack open and go in and tinker with is incredibly small. And I base that in part because I have never met anyone with an Android phone that has ever talked about, yeah, and so I popped it open and I did this in there and I replaced this other part. And
right.
If you're not doing it with an Android phone, where people are always saying, well, this is so much better because it's so open and you can do anything with it. It's not happening there. That tells me there's just not that big of a market for people that really want to be able to crack these devices open.